Hello, everybody. This is Getrude Matshe here in beautiful Wellington, New Zealand. Welcome to the Best of You Expo online in Los Angeles, where I'm presenting here in Wellington, New Zealand. My presentation today is entitled This Side of the Grave. And this is a presentation as a tribute to my parents, who I lost exactly 18 months apart. And anyone else out there who is grieving, who's lost a parent, a child, a loved one due to COVID-19. You see, I lost my father on the 10th of June, 2018, of a sudden heart attack. I'd rushed my mother to the hospital. As I was having my mum wheeled into the emergency center, somebody called my cell phone, screaming, saying, "Whose phone is this? There's a man here who's collapsed." It was my father's phone. I had called my dad and asked him to follow, and he got in his truck and was on his way to the hospital when he had a heart attack. Unfortunately, I lost my mother during COVID-19 on the 23rd of April, 2020, this year. So this is a letter that I wrote to my dad, and I managed to read on the day of his funeral. And it's entitled, "The First Man That I Have Ever Loved." Dear Dad, as we lay you here to rest on the 17th of June, 2018, I've come to bury the first man that I have ever loved. And because we can't celebrate Father's Day with you in the physical world, let us celebrate with you now going forwards in the spirit world. So today, I would like to read my first letter to you, Dad, because I know you're still here with us, and you always will be. These are the words I would have said to you at breakfast on Sunday last week. I want to thank you for being the best father a little girl could ever ask for carrying me on your shoulders all of my life. I want to thank you for coming to every poetry recital, every speech I ever gave, every debate competition I ever took part in high school. I thank you for showing me the magical power of my voice and how I should use it. Thank you for teaching me to hold my head up high when I got pregnant, before I could finish university in London. When I came back to Kwekwe as an unwed mother, you forced me to go back onto these streets, holding my baby with pride. You told me not to be ashamed because he was special, as he was your first grandchild. Simbarashe, Zianda, and Dumisani sent a message, Dad. They said, "Kulu, we are sorry we could not be there to lay you to rest." Thank you for driving me to work every single day when I got pregnant. Driving all the way from Chitungwiza to Avondale at 6 a.m. so we could have breakfast together before you dropped me off at work. And you picked me up after work to take me home. You gave everybody in the office the impression that you were my sugar daddy. Remember how we used to laugh all the way home? How you would open the door for me like a gentleman, give me a hug and a kiss on the cheek and wink, saying, "Let's give them something to talk about." Thank you for showing me the power of your love for my mother. Watching you through the years, Dad, helped me choose my husbands carefully. You were the yardstick I used to look for a partner. You were my role model of what a good husband should be. And I'm so glad that you got to meet your new son-in-law, Dariusz Kaniski. Thank you for loving him and welcoming him into our family. Thank you for spending the last 5 weeks of your life with me, Dad. Thank you for calling me home. The memory of every walk we took in the gardens, the memory of every plan we made for the future, every joke you cracked, every meal we shared, every ride to sell your tomatoes at OK Bazaars. Every step, Dad, every moment, every breath is etched in the depth of my soul. Thank you. Natenda Baba. Natenga Rangu. For I was the lucky one. I was blessed to have you all to myself for the past 5 weeks. On behalf of my father, I want to thank the heavenly angels that walk this planet, who manifested in our lives in our time of need. First and foremost was Anai, my little sister, my parents' caregiver. Wadzanai muning'ina waita hako, wakaita hako nekundichengetera vabereki vangu. May God bless every step you take as you walk this earth. May God bless your family. May God bless your beautiful children when you get married. May God shower you with kindness and kind experiences in life and give you back what you have given to the universe. I know that my father loved you like a daughter. Second, I want to thank my adopted sister, Ruth Dengwani. Thank you for manifesting in my life, for having my back at all times, and for spending the past 5 weeks with me and my parents, spoiling them every single morning with your fresh baked scones and cakes. And of course, those fat cooks. You know Dad loved those. Thank you, Ruth, for carrying the cross with me for 1 week, looking after Mom while she was in hospital, and for looking after me when I couldn't bear the pain and the tightness in my chest when I reflected on my father's passing. Thank you for being the first person at the hospital to identify our beloved father alone. I hope you know that my father fell in love with you from day one. He told me that you are an incredible human being, and if nobody has ever told you that before, let this be the first time on behalf of my father. So, Dad, heaven has gotten richer and brighter with your spirit and your essence. I miss you. I love you. This is a tribute to a great man. This is a tribute to the first man that I have ever loved. This is a tribute to an amazing best friend, my father. I will take care of her, Dad. I promised you I would. Rest in peace, Joseph Solomon Bere. Rest in peace. When my father died, I felt as if the solid foundation beneath my feet was gone. When my mother died, I felt as if I was sucked into a void, like I couldn't quite breathe, and I couldn't get out of that void and feel like I could breathe again, or find joy and happiness and enjoy the sunshine and the rain. It's been an incredibly hard thing to do. I learned that resilience is the strength and the speed of our response to adversity. So when something bad happens, big or small, it's how much we're able to overcome it and how we can persevere in the face of those challenges. So if you're going through grief right now, you might be asking yourself, how do I build that resilience? Severe adversity brings real perspective. It helps you prioritize the important things in your life. In the last 18 months, I've come to make choices about how to use my energy, who to interact with, the people who lift me up and not just take from me. All around the world right now, people are being faced with a lot of sadness. The coronavirus pandemic has affected and united all of us in this way. I don't think there's anyone who's going to come out of this struggle without being affected. So if you know someone who is going through grief, I want to give you a few things you can do to help them along the way. Don't ask me how I am. When people ask you how you are, it feels so insensitive because I don't know. All I know is that I'm in pain. And you're really putting a lot of emphasis on me to respond in a positive way. The best thing you could ask is, how are you today? Because when you're going through grief, you can only take it one day at a time, one breath at a time, one moment at a time. When my dad died, I found that the people that I thought would be around me to support me were not there. The so-called friends avoided me. People don't want to be around sad people because they don't know what to say. So I lost a lot of friends. Effective forecasting is one's ability to predict your emotional future. Dan Gilbert, a psychologist, said that when he did a study, the data showed that people overestimated how bad things were going to be and how long the misery would last. So to look to the future with hope, you have to realize that it's not as bad as it's going to be in the present moment when you experience the loss. I've had to learn to practice self-compassion, just being kind to myself. For months, almost a year, I felt responsible for my father's death. I thought if I hadn't called him and told him to come to the hospital, he wouldn't have died. Since my mother died, the guilt came back because I was due to go back to Zimbabwe the week that New Zealand went on lockdown. And I wasn't there to be with her when she passed. I wasn't there for her funeral. So what I started doing is, before I go to bed, I write down 3 things that I did really well that day. And it could be something as simple as being able to wake up, make myself breakfast, being able to go for a walk and get some exercise. I also write down 3 things that I'm grateful for. Sometimes we forget what we have when we're focused on what we've lost. So walking, riding my bicycle, getting physical exercise has been my medicine. I started watching funny comedy shows on TV, on Netflix. And that natural antidepressant of the endorphins that are released in your brain when you laugh has helped me to come back to be where I am today. So I hope this presentation will help you to find ways of supporting people who are grieving right now. I hope this presentation will remind you that, as my mother said, so long as you are this side of the grave, don't give up. Life is beautiful if you know where to look. And grief is not a place to stay. It's a passage, it's a valley that you experience for a short while. And then you have to get on. You have to get on with the living. Thank you.